On today's episode of Watch Jericho, we are back with my dead 2013 Model S85. And today, hopefully, we're gonna get the air suspension off the ground. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna try. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Jericho, and today we've got two things to try to figure out on the Tesla. But first, I need to address the battery situation. Huge thank you to all of you that have reached out. I have so many emails and messages, and I've talked to a few of you guys, and we have a little bit of a plan on how to handle that. But what if it's not the battery? So we have a new question. I do think it's the battery because I have talked to like the goats of the Tesla industry here, and they have all said that it was the battery, you know, straight out of the gate. But we're also gonna check the lower drive unit today because Alex from QC Charge reached out to me and was like, you really need to check that before you go too much farther. So we gotta get the air suspension up. Hopefully we get that done with the diagnostics, which is the next part of today's video. So over here in the work truck, we have the Tesla Diagnostic adapter cables for the Autel. And we have my Autel MS909 here. And the VCI that was just updated, which let us fix the McLaren, if you guys saw that post. Now I can actually work on the McLaren with all the new updates on this bad boy. What we were missing was you have to physically update the VCI. So let's hop in this car now and build ourselves a setup. Basically, the way Tesla built this thing, Tesla, sorry, I need to say it with a Z, just to keep making people angry. There's no real diagnostics on the OBD2 port. It's basically worthless. So the OBD2 port, it's right here, right where you would expect it to be on basically every car. But on the Model S, there's this little tray down there, and you grab the front of it, yank it down and pull straight out, and then you expose this diagnostic cable right here. And this is how you actually hook up to these cars. So there's a bunch of different cables in here. There's the diagnostics over IP cable, which is where all cars are actually going. This is Ethernet to a 4-pin kind of DIN connector. Probably coaxial. It's really strange, but you remove the instrument cluster from the car and hook this up, and it lets you talk directly to all the car's systems over the network instead of the CAN bus and put this car in factory mode. And down the road, as cars get faster and faster and the diagnostics become more advanced, we'll be using a lot more cables like that to talk to them. On this car, it has the old Tesla CAN adapter here, and then there's the one for the new cars with the much smaller adapter. So I've got all the cables here, and all I should have to do is unhook my OBD2 cable from the VCI and hook right up to the car, and it should connect. So let's find out if it works. I'm a little concerned that this car isn't going to power the VCI, and I'll need external power, so I'll have to bail on this immediately and go figure out a solution there. But let's find out. It looks like it hooks up just like this. Hey, it does have 12-volt power through there. Cool. All we have to do now is fire up the car from the app and see if we can finally talk to this and hopefully force the air suspension to raise up. I've never seen anything more upset. This thing just did its like beep of death 100 times in a row once we started trying to auto detect the VIN here. I know it doesn't want to focus on the scanner, but it went nuts. I basically have to check the brake nonstop since the cluster doesn't work and make sure the brake booster's still on. Ben and I got this thing off the ground, which was no easy task. The air suspension, of course, will not come up after over an hour and a half of trying to connect the Autel to the car. As you can see, we're connected to the Ethernet port now, and even though I have everything correct, it will not connect. I don't know what to do. I think the car just simply isn't powering on, so who knows? We put it on some blocks so we could get some clearance, got a jack under it, a low profile jack. We got jack stands under it. Now, we're gonna pull off this entire lower drive unit cover. If you're looking at the car from the back, it's the one right before the battery. So obviously, if you guys have never seen the battery before, it's that entire thing with those slots running down it. The entire bottom of the car is the battery. And then this is the large drive unit cover. And you know, diff, motor, all that fun stuff, it's all in there with the inverter. So we have to pull every 10 along here and all the way down until we get this cover off, and then we can inspect our large drive unit or lower drive unit. Maybe it's a boat, I don't know. We're just taking out bolts, it's no big deal. Got my heated hoodie on out here. That's a big win. The problem is it's not mounted to anything. It's just chilling, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes.
There it is.
It just needed some hammering.
Loosen it up, get the pebbles out of there.
That's right. We did it! We got the panel off. This is the large drive unit right here. You can see some of the coolant lines right here. And if you look right above that coolant line on the driver's side, that's the speed sensor with that single tin coming out there. So we're gonna go ahead and unplug it right now. Should be able to just slide that clip back and give it a little wiggle. Come on, there it goes. She's out. And now I just need to pull this one tin right there. And we need to get inside there to see if it's wet. Hopefully now you can see I've got a little gap there between the speed sensor and the housing, and a little wiggle, and we find out that the car needs a drive unit. That is a very bad sign. Look at all the coolant on there. I bet the inverter's trash. Well, let me know, Tesla techs, QC charge, you think this thing's toast? It's definitely wet, but you can't like push your finger down into the hole. Oh man, probably toast too.
What's up, man?
Hey, I got a quick question for you. I just pulled the speed sensor out of my S85. It's right here, if you can see that. And
oh boy,
it's covered in coolant and rust and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so what's your question?
Well, what do you think I should do now? I think it's got a bad battery, and I think it might now have a bad large drive unit.
Okay, number one, I told you to get rid of this car after the first episode.
Yeah, well, you did.
It's still here. It's still here.
Uh-huh.
What I would do, honestly, you could have coolant potentially in the rear drive unit.
Yep.
And secondly, the battery issue is kind of a big deal. In my humble opinion and humble and professional opinion, if you're going to do it right and replace the entire battery.
Right, I was planning on doing that.
And then I would also do it right and put a new rear drive unit in. But at that cost, is it worth it?
Well,
because,
what do you think a large drive unit's going to cost? I think I'll be almost $15,000 into parts just to put this back together.
You very well could be. It depends. Is this a P80?
No, it's worse. It's actually just, it's a rebadged S85.
And they put P85D on it. That's scum. Those scum. That is scummy right there. I mean, the thing is, it's a 10-year-old Tesla, and build quality wise, they weren't that great that long ago, and they're just started getting okay now. So I don't know if it's really worth it. I think for the price that you paid, I think you're better off just probably parting this one out, because you could be into this thing for a decent amount of money. And for that money, you're better off buying another one for like 20 grand.
Yeah, I think it kind of looks like this might cost me $22,000 to have a 167,000 mile beat Model S.
Yeah, I think you're better off just make a really cool video, parting it out, take the battery out, and show the people what's inside. You know what I mean? I think that'd be a pretty good series from it.
Car Ninja, how badly do you want to take the battery out of this thing?
No, thank you.
All right, and then also I spent 2 hours trying to diagnose this with the Ethernet cable and everything, and it won't connect to the car no matter what I do.
Look at those floor mats.
Oh yeah, it's got the eBay special, the terrible floor mats, fake, cheap.
Oh my. Oh my goodness, I would yeah, man, this might be hey, let's take it apart and see what's inside, or we could LS swap it. I heard that's a cool thing to do now.
I've heard somebody else already did that, so it's not really in the plan.
Not really original. You could rotary swap it. I think someone might be doing that too. Do something.
All right, okay.
What cars do you have for sale? I want to buy something.
I've got that old cab over Ford.
You got the truck. Yep. I want the. Wait, do you sell the Atom already?
The Atom's gone.
Ferrari's for sale.
Oh, Johnny, the Car Ninja wants you to know his Ferrari's for sale, his 360. Well, our fun with the cheap Model S appears to be over, because now I don't have a battery because it's not here, and the salvage yard refunded my money because eBay required it to be shipped. So they had already sent my money back and offered to sell it to me again for $1,000 less if I went and got it or sent somebody down after it. So that was my plan, obviously. And now, of course, it looks like I need a motor too. So I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna see if they have a lower drive unit listed on eBay actually real quick. If they do have one listed and the price makes sense, maybe we send it and do both. Because that will guarantee, it won't even guarantee, because I could get another bad lower drive unit. The battery, it just like slowly degrades over years. It's usually not a big deal, except for these batteries, because they're the early ones. And the lower drive unit, the seal that allows the coolant around the motor, from my understanding of it, fails from just miles. So a used drive unit from the early models is going to have the same issues. And I love the cars. Like, they're simple, easy to work on, parts bin stuff, and it shouldn't be a big deal. But of course, the diagnostics won't work in this one. The motor might be bad. The battery's basically guaranteed to be bad. And I did all this work on it already. What a letdown. I kind of agree with Rich now. Maybe I should part it out. I'm gonna do a quick search on the old internets, see what a drive unit's gonna cost me, and we'll make a decision. At least you can see the refund has already hit my account there, so we're good on the battery deal if I decide not to do it. There it is, the same salvage yard, the same car, because the battery also had 91,000 miles, so we can tell very quickly. So if I go get all of this myself, which is a, you know, roughly $1,000 trip, I could rebuild this car for $14,500. Of course, I paid $7,000 for the car, which would put me at $21,500 just to get this thing fixed and know that it's gonna work, because obviously the salvage yard will warranty the battery and the LDU, so I'm sure they have maybe one more of these, maybe two more. And if my battery doesn't work, they'll take it back, which that would be terrible, or give me another one. The take it back deal would be really unfortunate. So I can basically buy a complete car from them, and then I still might need the instrument cluster, so I guess we could call it $22,000. And of course, I forgot I already spent money on $22,000 and change, since I've already fixed a bunch of other stuff in the car. I really thought I was gonna fix this thing for, you know, a simple module swap, which, you know, you could probably do it. It's just the wrong thing to do. And like Rich said, I'd still have a beat old 2013 Model S, which is just a really old car at this point. Like, this thing is an antique. The new ones are leaps and bounds better. So I should probably just be looking for a different one, or find one with one less problem. Like, maybe if it just needed a battery. I didn't think this was gonna go this far. So there you go, EV haters. I know you guys love to talk about how terrible electric cars are, even though they're so simple. If both of the main things that run the car break, yeah, it's kind of bad. But the chances of that happening are only one, me, in the rest of the universe. So I got the one bad example, and then I put it on YouTube, which reinforces the EV haters out there. They're wrong. Don't worry, they're very wrong. This is better, easier to work on than any gas vehicle there is. Honestly, cheaper. I'm replacing the entire car for 15 grand. You know, another luxury car with like say a Mercedes V8, twin turbo V8. It's the same price. It's gonna cost you $20,000 to replace that thing. Maybe more, maybe 40,000. G-Wagon, 40,000. So it's not like this is crazy, but at the end of it, you replace your G-Wagon engine and you still got a G-Wagon. At the end of this, I replace all these parts and I still have a really old Tesla that's pretty outdated. Let me know what we should do in the comments. Should I just part this thing out? It will part out for a ton of money. There's a ton of parts in here people need. I didn't buy the car poorly. I won't lose any money on it. So there's also that for the EV haters out there. This is a money-making scenario no matter what. I could probably sell it and break even, replacing everything, break even. Or I could part it out and make money, or I think those are the only options. Thank you guys so much for watching another fun adventure where I find out a car needs way more than I ever expected it to need. Maybe that happens when you're buying the worst of the worst. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjergo.com for cool shirts like the one I'm wearing underneath all of this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. It's even personalized. If the instrument cluster would turn on, it would help so much. I honestly think it would help diagnose so many things, even if it just said unable to drive. Let's pack this thing up. Let's get out of here before I freeze. Let me know in the comments below. Do we follow Rich's advice and part this thing out, or do we try to save a mediocre Tesla?